Okay, this video is going to be about how to colorize a photo with a gradient. So we need a photo, preferably an outdoor photo works nice for this, something with some depth. This is a photo I took of downtown Kansas City from the Ferris wheel that they have down there. You need the photo to be on your desktop. Okay, if you do not already have a photo, and it could also be in a folder available on your desktop, but that's what we mean by that. If you don't have a good photo for this assignment, you can go to unsplash.com for a free stock photo that you can use. Again, you're looking for a nice outdoor photo that you could use. That would be best for this assignment. And actually, I would like, depending on the semester, I would give you an assignment of doing this once or twice to different photos. So based on the instructions that I've given you for whatever semester you are taking, you may need more than one good photo. Okay, so I'm going to open up my Digital One folder, and I'm going to click and drag this photo that I'm going to use into Photoshop, right into the icon on the dock. And it is going to open inside of Photoshop and be ready to go, and then I can close this folder. I'm going to hit Command 0 to make it full screen. Okay, and now we can see the photo. Now I have my workspace set up to photography. If yours is not, go to Window, Workspace, and select Photography. If yours is, but it still looks different, select Reset Photography. Regardless, even if you're using a different version of Photoshop, so this one is 2024, even if you're using a different version, maybe in the future, of a newer release, it should still have a lot of similarities, and you should still be able to find the adjustment panels and the layers and the things that we need to use to do this assignment. So we're going to start with our background layer. We're going to unlock our background layer. Okay, and then it changed that to layer 0 instead of background. But while that is selected and unlocked, we're going to hit Command J on the keyboard, Command J, and that makes a copy. Go back to the original layer, and you're going to hit the padlock to lock that layer. Additionally, in the future, if you have assignments where you're supposed to name your layers, like a specific name, how do you do that? You hover over the title that is currently there, layer 0 copy in this instance, and I double click it, and I can change the name of that layer. It's not as applicable to this particular assignment that we're doing, but that's how you do that. That's how you name a layer. Okay, so now we need to be on that layer, and we know that because it's selected with a light gray. I am looking for black and white in the adjustments panel. So I'm going to click on black and white. That's going to automatically put a black and white filter over the top of the photo. It's going to select everything based on a default. So Photoshop is choosing what it believes is the best settings to turn this photo into a black and white. However, we can manipulate these settings, and that's in red and yellow and green and cyan, blue and magenta. And so we're going to pump these up or pump them down or leave it based on what we think the photo needs to create great contrast and to keep the photo from being too fuzzy. Okay, so if you get too crazy, too outside of what the photo can handle, it will create what's called noise, and you'll see that the photo becomes grainy or even a little bit pixely. And so you want to make those adjustments and create the best contrast without getting that crazy, grainy, pixely appearance. Okay, so I kind of like that when I drop that, I get that dark, but then when I pump up the cyan, I can kind of exaggerate those lighter shades of blue. Okay, and then the purple I can play with a little bit, but doesn't look like we're going to get too much change in there. So actually, I like I like these settings. I like that these windows in here have come out a little darker, creating a little more contrast. And then you've got like this line here, part of this fence is darker, and some windows over on the other side. So I think I'll stick with that. I'm going to minimize that window in there. Okay, so we've got our black and white adjustment layer, which is like a filter. You can think of it like a filter on top of the colorize, my colorize layer, which is my photo. Okay, so now we are going to add a gradient. Okay, so you need to be on the black and white layer with this white box selected. Okay, and then you're going to come down here and you're going to go to this little circle that's half white, half black, create new filler adjustment layer, and you're going to open that. And when you do, you're going to go down to gradient map. Okay. Now I can see that automatically it has a default gradient of white, black. And because it's white, black, it inverted what would be white and what would be black. Okay. And so I'm just going to hit reverse. Okay. And now this is more accurate to what we just saw with my black and white filter, although it's a little bit more dramatic, a little bit more extreme. Okay. And that's because we are seeing this gradient map, white, black, on top of the other filter where we had already changed it to black and white. So it's kind of like, right now it's like black and white on top of black and white. Okay. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to change that gradient. I'm not going to use a gradient that is black and white. So I'm going to double click on this bar here, and then I get my gradient editor. Okay. So this is a free floating window that comes up. There are about a bajillion gradients that are presets within Photoshop. Okay. So a lot of choices that can be made that are presets within Photoshop. And they're not bad choices. There's some awesome choices in here, but I want you to take it a step further and I want you to make your own. Okay. And I'm going to explain to you how to do that. And I'm going to title it my last name. So we're going to make one here in just a second. And now I've already got a name for it. So down here is our white, black, which was the default. Notice there's a little white box around this is called a stop. And there's a little white box around it, meaning that's the selected stop. And then that black triangle pointing up is also showing this is the selected stop. So I want to change the stops that are here, the white one and the black one, but I also want to add some stops. So I always recommend that students use between 3 and 5 colors when they're doing this assignment. So we're going to double click the stop and we get the color picker. And inside of the color picker, I'm going to choose, I have my absolute favorite color is purple. So I'm going to choose purple for that one. I'm going to say, okay. Now notice it looks kind of interesting, kind of cool with purple and white, but we want to add some additional colors. I do think I'm going to keep the white. I'm going to click on it and I'm going to drag it more this way. Okay. And I'm going to show you why. I'm going to add a stop. Well, how do you add a stop? Remember, we want between 3 and 5 colors. So I already have 2. So I need at least 1 more, but I could have as many as 3 more. I'm going to add a stop by clicking in the area where I want that stop to be. Now, by default, it put it in as white. So then I go in here, I double click that, and again, I get my color picker. So I really like the combination of like purple and orange, or like a yellow orange. I really like those together. That's much more of a yellow, but I really like that combination. So I'm going to leave that for now. Okay. And I've still got my white in the middle. I think I will add 1 more color, and I'm going to slide this over. I'm going to add 1 more color in this area. And also noticing these little diamonds in between the stops. And what that means is it's showing you the severity of the gradient. So you can make it like a harsh fade, okay? Or you can make it like a softer gradual fade if it's between the two. So actually I just inadvertently clicked and made a stop there. So I'm going to move this guy over. I'm going to try to keep that pretty well blended or faded, okay? But over here, I want to get this guy and I want to do like I think we'll do more of that orange that I think maybe a little bit darker, okay? So I'm going to select that. I've got my white, my purple, I've got my yellow and more of an orange. And now before I say okay and save this, or excuse me, new and save this, I'm going to play around with this a little bit. What if I put my orange and my yellow and then my white was back to my fade? Now see, I kind of like that. So I'm going to blend these a little bit. I really want more. Oh, I added a new one accidentally. So how do you delete a stop that you don't want? So while it's selected, which it has the black triangle, you can just hit delete key, the delete key on your keyboard. Okay, now that actually changed I need to go back here and I want this to be white. The code for white is FFF, okay? And that is not giving, it is giving us a very strange result. It looks like we got something extra in there. But I'm just gonna slide these over, see what I've got. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stops. Let's go back in. I really only wanted 4. Let's take this guy and hit delete. And we're still getting that weird result. I'm going to take this one and hit delete if it's going to let me. Maybe it's my slider. I think it's my slider. There we go. That's giving me fits. But I'm going to go white and yellow and more of an orange. And then I'm bringing in those purples more because I'm stretching that back out. So this is kind of what I was going for. Less of the yellow orange, like squeeze these together and then give more to the white and the purple. Okay, actually slide this over, more of that white. Okay, now you could use you can use 3 or 4 or 5 stops, and all of them can be different colors. Obviously they should be. And then you can fade them. They can have different levels of fade, and they can be different distances from each other, and you will get a million different results. Okay, so this is now my custom gradient. I'm going to name it my last name. I'm going to hit new, and it's going to save it. Okay, and actually I must have been in that red, I must have been clicked on that red folder and it saved it there. But really I don't want it to be in the red folder. So I'm going to close the folder. Let's go up here. Let's close all these folders. Okay. And I had opened those to show you what you could see in there, but let's close those out. Okay. Now I'm going to say brown. I'll just put a 2 just in case it doesn't want to save the same name. And then I'm going to say new. And now I've got it under here. Now, ultimately, I think I could go back in here and make a folder and put all these are other gradients that I've made. And so we're going to just save it there. Okay. And then we say, okay. So after it was new and it was saved, then we said, okay. And we get out of that panel, Command 0 to full screen the photo. Okay. While the gradient map is selected, I then want you to go to your opacity, and I want you to play a little bit with the opacity. Now, what this does is it's going to give you different effects. So it's going to kind of tamp down the harshness of those colors. You can keep it like really harsh if you'd like, and those like really wild colors, which is half the fun of the assignment. That's fine. Or you can mute it just a smidge. I'm going to mute it just a smidge. I think I'll just do an 80 right there. So when I'm messing with this opacity, it is messing with the gradient map layer, okay, which is like a filter. And by dropping that down, I have reduced the opacity by 20%, which makes it show up just 20% less. It's like 20% see-through and 80% opaque, okay? And that's what that means. All right, so now we have a colorizing with gradients. I'm going to come over here and open this folder and show you a couple other examples of ones that I've done recently, and that actually shows very similar colors that I have a liking for those colors. And then and here's another one that I did recently with some different colors. Okay, so I've now got another gradient here and another photo. I need to save it. So remember, I'm going to close this folder. You're going to always file, save as to your local folder on your desktop that you're working on. So digital photo. I can save it as a Photoshop document and hit save and say, okay. I need to save it to the cloud. So file, save as, and I'm going to hit save to cloud document. It's going to kick it out to a additional window for the Creative Cloud. And we're going to say, I could call this gradient, whatever. Okay. And then we hit save. And so now we know that we've got it on the Adobe Creative Cloud. And so I could even go over to Creative Cloud. I could go to files and I should be able to see that. And there it is. Okay. And we know that we've got it locally right here on the desktop. And there it is. And now I need to turn it in. And we are this semester for sure using an Adobe link. Okay. So I'm going to go to a classroom where I am a student. And so this doesn't look anything like your classes do, except this is how you turn something in. So I'm going to go to the thing titled Smart Goals and hit View Instruction. I'm going to unsubmit that and clear that out. Now I'm going to come back over here. I want to make a link. So I'm going to share. And then I am going to say create a link. And then I'm going to hit copy. And then I'm going to go back to my classroom where I need to add a link. Okay, click here, Command V, add the link. And then I'm going to, when this is done loading properly, I'm going to turn it in and again turn it in. Okay, and so now this is how you would turn in your assignment to me so that I can grade it. So we're going to go, and this is how it would look for me. I can open it. I can see your assignment that you submitted. I can add comments about the assignment. Okay, and then we're going to submit it. I'm going to submit the comment. And so when you come back over here, when you see your work and you are, if there's a comment, it might be in Google Classroom a comment, but it might be in the Adobe link. So you go to the window bar, the window panel, comments, and there's the comment. Okay, so I commented on my own work, but you get the idea. So if I needed to tell you something, if I needed to collaborate with you on something, this is where we would do it. It would show up in the comments box. Okay, and if you don't see that by default, which you probably won't, under the workspace for photography, you just go window and down to comments, and it will show up. Okay, and now I've got that over here and it's saved. Okay, so that's it. We've saved it local, we saved it cloud, we turned it in as a link, and that's how you colorize with gradients. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.